Welcome guys to my channel, The Electrocoder, where electricity meets code. Today we are going to continue our data analyzer app. Now let's get into the coding. So in our data analyzer app, we are going to visualize our data in three types. First, the 2D graph, then bar graph, and finally the interpolated graph. Here we have used the function st.radio where radio buttons are shown in our web app. Then we have stored the option in our variable opt. Now we have used the conditional statement. If option is equal to 2D graph, then as our previous video, the old code has been done in that. That is, when the user selects 2D graph option, then our previous code will run. Now, in order to run our web app, we are going to write the code as shown, py-m streamlit run, and then we are going to write the name of our Python file and then .py extension as shown here. Here we can see that our web app has been started and we can upload our Excel file as you can see. And now if we select 2D graph option here, then we can visualize our graph using the 2D graph visualization as shown. The code was done in our previous video. So now let's write the code for visualizing our data using bar graph option. So guys, our code for bar graph visualization has been written successfully. Here, if the user selects the option bar graph, then as our previous code, there is a subheader bar graph visualization. Then we have divided our web page into two columns using the function st.columns. Now we have two functions st.selectBox for X entity and Y entity. Here, for the option st.selectBox, the options given are the heading or the column name of our panda file of the variable data of file. After that, we have simply extracted X data and Y data by passing X entity name in our data of file variable as shown, and same goes for Y data. Now we have described a figure and axis equal plt.subplots. We have not provided any number, which means that it is of order 0, that is simply one plot. After that, the function axs.bar means that we are going to plot our bar graph. Here we have supplied our X data, Y data, and edge color means that the bar graph edge will be black in color. Here we have supplied grid equal true. Here alpha equals 0.3 means it is showing the opacity of our grid. 0.3 is a small number, so our grid will be small, that is, it will be very light in nature. Here, after that, we have supplied our X label, Y label, and title for our bar graph. After that, we have used the function st.pyplot where we pass our figure such that our figure will be displayed in our Streamlit web app. Now guys, let's observe the bar graph visualization of our data. Here in our Streamlit web app, after we upload the Excel file as shown, here the data is seen. Now if we select the bar graph option, then we can select our x-axis and y-axis entity and the bar graph will be shown as in the given figure. Now guys, we have completed our bar graph. Let's get into the interpolation. So guys, before writing the code for our interpolation, let's understand what is this interpolation. it is a very important topic in our data visualization. Simply speaking, interpolation is our curve smoothing technique. Here, in our previous 2D graph visualization, the graph was very rough. That is, it had very sharp edges. Now, after we use the technique of interpolation, then we can simply make the graph smoother, and it makes the graph much more visually appealing. So guys, let's write the code for our interpolation of graph. Here the first part of our interpolation is simply as the rest. We have used if option equal interpolated graph and the same as that of the bar graph. Now guys, we are going to start the actual coding of our interpolation of our data visualization. For our interpolation, we are going to use SciPy and NumPy module which are imported as shown. From the SciPy module, we are going to import interp1d which is interpolation of one dimension as shown. Now the main thing is that we have converted y data as a function of x using the function interp1d. In this function, we have passed our x data, y data and set our kind to quadratic. Let's not go into the great detail. Here, simply we need to understand that our y function has been converted into y equals function of x. That is, y is a function of x where we can simply pass our x data. Now, the key concept is here. To make our graph smooth, we need a lot of data, and for that we are going to use NumPy module. Here, the function np.linespace means that we are getting x value from minimum value of x data to maximum value of x data. It will generate a lot of x data so that we can feed our y function. Now, after that, we have supplied our x data to our y function and then we have plotted the graph as in the previous. Here we have used dot plot function to plot our smooth curve. And to know our previous x and y data, we have used dot scatter function, which means we are just plotting the points. After that, other parts are same as previous part. Now, let's see the output of our interpolation graph visualization. Here we can see after we select the interpolated graph option, then our graph has been smoothed out as shown. The graph looks much more visually appealing and it has been smoothed out. Now let's compare the output of our 2D graph and our interpolated graph. Here our 2D graph is shown and then our interpolated graph is shown like this. There is a huge difference between them and this is the smoothing of our graph. So guys, our actual or important coding for our data visualization app has been successfully completed. Now after this we are going at the final part of our video and for that we are going to further modify our data analyzer app such that it looks much more user friendly and much more beautiful. So guys, stay tuned for part 3, the final part of our data analyzer app. Thank you.